to the Prophecy Club. Yes, I know there's lots of things going on in the world with Syria, and I talked about that, and I may interrupt this series that actually we've already started, talking about the Ark of the Covenant, and also other discoveries that Ron Wyatt have made. Now, let me explain why I'm about to do what I'm going to do. I have never played the audio of this DVD on the radio before. And the reason is because, frankly, it doesn't exactly play that good on radio because, you know, if you can't look at something and you're hearing someone try to describe it, it might not make that much sense. On the other hand, I don't think that this DVD, or now it's DVD, it was originally shot in VHS, has got enough people getting it. In other words, I tried to tell you how good it is, but I don't think you really understand, so I'm going to actually play the audio. Now, let me explain what it is, because I think once you hear the audio, you're going to say, oh my goodness, you're right. I need to see this video. All right, so here's the situation. Spring 1991, by the hand of God. I did talk about that a little bit, but I think this has to do with winning a lot of souls. The reason God sent Leslie and I on this 2-week tour. Spring 1991, Leslie and I went on a 2-week tour with Ron Wyatt. And every time he talked, I had this video running. And unfortunately, it is 1991, so you can hear the motor running of the VHS in the background. And, you know, it wasn't all that great quality compared to the fancy electronics we have in the cameras today, 4 chips and the like. But for 1991, this was pretty good video. I mean, I used metal tape, the very best tape I could get, and it was a brand new VHS, and it was a top quality VHS. Again, I think it was all the hand of God. But I'm going to go ahead and play the audio, and this may stretch through several broadcasts. But I think once you get a taste of what is on this video, you're going to have it. And no, it's not professional, it's amateur, but it's me in 1991 when I had no idea I would ever be in the ministry. Prophecy Club didn't start till 1993. But I think once you hear what we are simply talking about, you're going to have this, what is going to come to you on video, because we've upgraded it from VHS up to DVD. Now, here's the deal. We're putting together, you're going to get 4 discs for a gift of $40. You're going to get this one that was shot in 1991, upgraded to DVD, called Archaeology Confirms the Bible. Another DVD that I did in 2012 called Noah's Ark Confirms the Bible. And it's explaining specifically in pictures, a lot of pictures, showing all about Noah's Ark, what I saw there. Then you're going to get 2 discs made by Michael Rood called End Times Archaeology. The second one is called The Dead Sea Scrolls. 4 discs, valued at $80 for a gift to the ministry of $40. Yeah, it's good for us, keeps us going, but I think you're going to really want to see this information. That's the reason I'm putting it out. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the air. So there's going to be some dead spots. There's going to be some spots where you just hear the motor of the VHS running. But if you'll be patient, if you'll trust me, if you'll place this order, if you'll get this, when you watch it, you will be very glad you have your own personal copy of it. Let's go listen to Ron Wyatt on the DVD that I personally made called Archaeology Confirms the Bible.
Would snap off. In water, there's a considerable amount of buoyancy, which would make this thing work in water, but not out in the open air. So that way we know that it was designed to be used in water. All right, now on here, originally there were 8 crosses, like on the other one you saw up there, except these are of a Crusader style. You'll notice that some of this material has been knocked off and that there's some crosses in here. This tells us these crosses were added later. And some of the design right here, for example, this one's been added later. The original 8 crosses here are similar to the ones up there, except again, these are Crusader and not Byzantine like the other. But the most significant thing about this anchor stone to me is these symbols right here. This is Nimrod's symbol when he was alive. Now, if you remember in the Bible, he said that he would make a pathway to heaven. This is what the builders of the Tower of Babel said. And the cities that he built have these symbols on the bricks. He claimed that the ark was his doing, and that man was spared by his doing, in spite of God's intention to destroy all life on the planet. So this is the symbol of the ark below, and the symbol of his pathway to heaven, the vertical shaft on here. The horizontal shaft represents heaven. So this is Nimrod's promise, and there is probably some pretty good reason to believe that the Tower of Babel is a bit more than a pile of burnt brick and tar. However, we haven't found that yet, so I'm just saying God's response to what they were doing seemed, after Nimrod died, this was moved to the top, symbolizing that he had gone to heaven. And of course its name today is the Egyptian Ankh, A-N-K. But Osiris that was worshipped in Egypt is none other than Nimrod. And Isis was Semiramis, and Horus, of course, was Tammuz. And all through the pagan world, they worship these people, their ancestors. And so anyway, there's 3 of these symbols on here showing the relationship to Nimrod. There's one more, and with the sun in my eyes, I can't see it. Okay, thank you. This hole here is 7 inches in diameter. The hole on the other side is 5 inches in diameter. In the center, we have a 9-inch diameter area, and we have a ridge in there that's designed to fit in the knot of a rope. So if you pull the rope through, tied your knot in it, and pulled it back through and placed it just right, according to this groove that's in here, and you can get up on this and take a look if you want to. Then when the water swelled the cord up, it would fill this very snugly, and you would have no chafing. So it's quite an ingenious method of preventing your rope from wearing in two in the violence of the flood. What appears to be petrified bark, which we think might possibly be a part of the covering of the ark that Nimrod took off, because bark makes an excellent covering. It's no good for the bottom of a craft, but if it's placed on the top, it's very waterproof and does not absorb water, so it's choice material for that.
Huh. That thing is hollow?
Somebody was good with whatever's good.
This has a good sound
on here. This appears to be bark. Okay?
Wow.
From an evergreen type tree. That's what it appears to be. Now this one has 8 crosses on it, but due to the type of material it is, it's quite difficult to see them. This is the large cross here, and comes across this way, and here's a cross right here, and I can't even find the rest of them. Here's a cross here.
There's one over here.
Oh yeah. Here's one here. There's another one right in here. And then here's one right here. And there's another one around here someplace. But this apparently was standing up at one point in time, and the road passed right by behind you. There are more of these over through the field, but it's quite a hike, and it would be dark before we could get finished. So if y'all want to see them, we can do it tomorrow. There's 2, 3 more of these, I believe. But it looks as though one of these was set up at each roadway going into this village with the 8 crosses. And that is how come it was referred to as the village of the 8. That's how it was identified, by these 8 crosses on each of the roads coming into the village. Yeah, you need a rock. It doesn't work with your hands. The plane would indicate that it was a very large diameter tree. Historians have doubted the existence of Sodom and Gomorrah. As is quite common, many people believe that the Bible is a collection of Hebrew legends and traditions. Sodom and Gomorrah were one of the things in particular that people questioned because they had never been able to find any of the remains of these cities. Now in 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter and the 6th verse, it tells us that Sodom and Gomorrah were an ensample, or a visual evidence of what God does to the wicked. Ezekiel 28, he says that Satan himself shall be reduced to ashes on the earth. Malachi 4 says that the righteous shall tread upon the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of their feet. 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter and the 6th verse, it says that they are an ensample, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Okay? Now then, there's some confusion on what eternal fire consists of. I believe personally that it's the principles in physics and chemistry. Everything has its flash point. If you raise it to that flash point, or you use a catalyst to lower its flash point, it will burn. That's an eternal principle. However, it only burns as long as there's something there to burn. Sodom and Gomorrah, in the back of me, is what is left of the city of Gomorrah. If you get home and look in your encyclopedia under brimstone or sulfur, and if you get a book on combustion, you'll find that any material that is burned in the presence of sulfur is heavier than the original material that was burned. So that is the explanation as to why most of this is still here. Deeper back into the area where there have been less bikes and four-wheelers and all of that sort of thing are some very remarkable double walls associated with Canaanite cities. Now in my hands here are evidence of burning fire and brimstone, and this is what the Bible says rained down upon Sodom and Gomorrah. There are millions, literally millions, of these little capsules, inside of which is sulfur. We have had this analyzed. It's 95% sulfur. The rest of the compounds are aluminum and some other metallic material that would make it burn hotter. Attempting to check the BTU developed by burning this material results in pitting of stainless steel. It cannot be checked. What happened when this sulfur burned and this rained down, it's very sticky. Wherever it hits, it sticks. And millions of these things falling on this city increased the temperature to several thousand degrees, and it burned the stone, the metal, everything. We have electronics with which we can find gold. We found gold deposits in several areas. Upon digging these up, we find that they are gold salts. They have vaporized from the extreme heat that they were subjected to and chemically combined with the material around them and are now gold salts. We have specimens of those. So anyway, as this material burned, it formed a liquid capsule about itself and eventually deprived itself of oxygen, which caused it to quit burning. Now we have found from small balls of sulfur or brimstone like you see in my right hand, and even smaller than this, to some that are very, very large, weighing many pounds. Now, we have gone up into Oregon and other areas where there is volcanic activity. Sulfur is closely identified or associated with volcanic activity. However, it's not in pellets like this. It comes out in a powder, settles down in a little thin strata. I would like for each of you to take a sample of the ash. If you can, find one of these, and again, there are millions of them around here.
Okay, here's one of the sulfur balls that I'm going to pick up and bring home. And it kind of cracked and fell apart. Then there's another one over here I noticed. You can see someone walk right by it. There's another ball. And then I saw another one back over here.
It's formed at 4, 5, 8,000 degrees temperatures. And since there's no evidence of any volcanic activity out here, we know this wasn't caused by a volcano. So whatever happened here and caused those chirp nodules.
Okay, they're about to burn some sulfur, just to show you what it burns like.
We're going to burn some sulfur.
Oh! Stinky.
It's hard to see the blue flame. You have to be in a dark place. But this burns at about 6,000 degrees Fahrenheit, pilgrims, which is very hot. And we're told that the fire of the Lord came down and burned the altar, the water, and the sacrifice on Mount Carmel, where Elijah was having a preach-off with the priests of Baal.
Ron is about to tell us how he discovered the Ark of the Covenant. And in preparation for this, we need to remember a couple of verses. First, Matthew 5:17 says, "Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill." So for Jesus to be our legal sacrifice, he had to fulfill the old Levitical law. In Leviticus 16:14, it tells of a very special sacrifice that is performed only once a year, and that's on the Day of Atonement. It's not a personal sacrifice. It is a sacrifice to wash the sins of a nation away, or a large group of people. They brought 2 goats to the high priest. They cast lots. 1 goat went free into the wilderness. That's where we get the term scapegoat from. The other goat, the blood of that goat, was taken into the Holy of Holies. Leviticus 16:14 tells how the high priest would dip his finger in that blood and sprinkle it on the mercy seat, which is the lid of the Ark of the Covenant, 7 times. It says, "And he shall take the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward. And before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times. So for Jesus to be our legal sacrifice, his blood had to land on the Ark of the Covenant, the lid, the mercy seat, a minimum of 7 times. And that's where Ron is about to tell us he found the Ark of the Covenant underneath the center cross hole on Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. The wailing in the background you hear is the Muslim call for prayer this afternoon at 4:30. We are in the garden of the Holy Sepulchre. The wailing will stop in a few moments, and then you can hear all about the discovery.
When you have something that is perfect, you can't do away with it, and you cannot change it. So that was not an option. So he and his son decided that the Son, who is equal with God, and if you read through Genesis there, the Hebrew points out very clearly that Christ is God. There's 3 of them, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. While we do not understand their nature completely, we do know that the Hebrew terms used to represent these beings involved in creation is plural. Okay, now then, he sent his Son down here to live a perfect life and then to die a very humiliating death. Now you recall when Nixon was caught doing some things, he resigned. And they said since he experienced such a humiliation and loss, that was punishment enough. Okay? So anyway, we could say, well, Christ didn't do it just right and all of this. But he did. And God accepted it. And God does not cut corners, nor fudge, nor cheat. He does not have to. So Christ's sacrifice was exactly what was required to redeem every man, woman, and child that has ever lived on planet Earth. And I believe that when we are born, or when we first become a viable creature in the womb, our names are put in the book of life, and only we can take it out by our behavior. Okay? Now then, God did this for us. And folks, it was here that he did this, on this mountain. Abraham offered Isaac on Mount Moriah. The temple was here on Mount Moriah. And Christ gave his life here on Mount Moriah. Now, one day, I was walking along this escarpment with an archaeologist friend of mine. And those of you that know me, I am not given to salubrious soliloquies or sepulchral solicitudes. You know, I am hard-headed, hard-nosed, and I want to know the facts. And that's all I want to know. But as I was walking by, my left arm pointed to a dump under the wall or the escarpment, and my mouth said, "That's Jeremiah's grotto, and the Ark of the Covenant is in there." Well, I love the Israelis, but they're not overly generous, and I think our friend here will agree. But this man said, "That's wonderful. We will let you excavate. We will give you a place to stay. We will give you all the help you need. We will provide your food, and we will do your laundry." How many times does an Israeli offer that to a Goyon? Not often. So anyway, I was flabbergasted. I had not even thought about the Ark of the Covenant or Jeremiah's cave or none of that stuff, okay? So anyway, I said, later I will maybe do this, but now I've got to go home. So I went home and I dug through history books and all of this. I found out that this city, at the time of the vanishing of the Ark of the Covenant and the other major furnishings of the first temple, when they vanished, the city was surrounded by a siege wall. 2 Kings, 25th chapter, Nebuchadnezzar cast forts against the city round about. And the Hebrew simply means a siege wall. Titus did the same thing. Part of Titus's wall has survived to the north. They were built out of range of the catapults in the city. Catapult ology had not advanced since Nebuchadnezzar's time, and the Roman catapults, or that period of time, they had about the same range as the one in Nebuchadnezzar's time. So we can conclude that Nebuchadnezzar's wall was about where Titus's was. Now then, the Ark of the Covenant vanished out of this besieged city. Some people say it was taken to Mount Horeb. Some people say that Solomon's son, by the Queen of Sheba, snookered him into making a replica, and he traded. But the Shekinah glory didn't leave until about 586 BC. This man might have snookered Solomon and everybody else around, but he could not snooker the Shekinah glory. So that did not happen. Now then, the only place short of God blinding part of the Babylonian army and having his people, some of his people, take this out and hide it, was that it had to be hidden in the city or inside this siege wall. The city is being systematically excavated down underneath the tunnels, the caves, and everything with very scientific methods. I went to the Israeli archaeological authorities, including the gentleman I was speaking with, when my mouth said something my brain, shall we say, didn't go along with or had no idea about, and I explained how it had to be in one of these inside that siege wall, and I thought that it was there from my research. So they gave me a permit based on that. And we started digging. And as we dug, we found cutouts in the cliff face where 3 public signs related to the crucifixion were set up when a well-known criminal was to be crucified. Now, this arrangement I always thought was just for Christ. It was not. This is how the Romans did it. And they had captured Barabbas, who had stirred up a lot of trouble in the area, rebelled and tried to overthrow the government. He didn't have a lot of luck, but he tried it. And so he was sentenced to be crucified, and he was to be crucified in a very public manner. Now, some say on a hill far away. This is a hill far away. It's a little bit below the crest because they made a quarry through here. But it's still on Mount Moriah. Now then, they always crucified people right along the side of a very busy road where the most people would see the crucified, because it was meant to intimidate anybody that would be thinking about trying something. And they put the language or the name of the person and what they were accused of in the chief local languages. In Jerusalem, it was Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, or Roman. And there's 3 cutouts there. Now then, in other cities, they put up whatever languages were used there, but it was always Roman was one of those languages.
I'm going to interrupt there, but I'm going to really, really encourage you to get this offer. Because, okay, here's the thing. When this stuff starts happening, when we really realize that we have entered the end times, now, some of us know it's pretty close, but when we're really there, this is going to be really important for you to have for your soul-winning activities that will be going on then. First DVD is the amateur DVD, actually it was VHS, turned into DVD, called Archaeology Confirms the Bible. I promise you, you will be impressed with it, even though it was made in 1991. Next one is me talking in 2012 explaining about Noah's Ark, called Noah's Ark Confirms the Bible. Third one is 2 DVDs made by Michael Rood, End Times Archaeology and the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's 4 discs, gift of $40. I promise you, you will be very glad you get this offer. And as your soul-winning activities begin to increase, as the trouble increases, and apparently with all these wars appearing to be on the horizon now, that may be closer than further off. So it's important for you to get this information. It's called the Archaeology Gift Offer, available at prophecyclub.com, of course, or you can call us 785-266-1112. Archaeology Gift Offer, 785-266-1112, or prophecyclub.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. I just made a new DVD giving 4 specific reasons why all people should believe Dimitri Duduman, and 4 specific incidents with him, proving that he was from God. And then I give Dimitri's testimony and his dreams and visions, 2.5 hours. Bree did an awesome job that will surprise you with the information that she has from Kenya and other nations where globalists have been changing Christian nations into globalist anti-Christ nations. You will be shocked. You do not know what is in this DVD. I didn't. I promise you do not know this. You will be shocked. My experiences with Dimitri Duduman and Bree's America's War in Heavens, both for a gift of $40 at prophecyclub.com or 785-266-1112. My experiences with Dimitri Duduman and America's War in the Heavens, 785-266-1112 or prophecyclub.com. Order today.